And you also want the moisture retention capacity of the soil on the low end to actually be fairly decent. This is why I like peat and drier environments, because peat will typically hold on to moisture better than something like cocoa or rock wool. So if you naturally struggle to keep humidity up, the last kind of medium that you should grow in is something that releases moisture very rapidly. You're going to be better off in that kind of environment growing in a medium that stays really wet for a long time, because if the air dries out and the soil stays really wet, that's fantastic. That's exactly what the plants are looking for. So, but as far as like timing with foliar sprays, I mean, the best results that I think you're going to get are when the soil is at its driest, and there's a little bit of the pressure gradient is starting to reverse a little bit, because at some point, the plants will get desiccated as well. If the air is really dry and the soil is really dry, it's not doing the plant any favors. But if the soil starts to dry out, really the first thing that happens is the water pumping effect sort of slows down. But doing a foliar spray, it's not really about introducing, because most of the water pumping effect kind of happens through the xylem, right? It kind of goes from the roots up. When you do a foliar spray, it's less about like the total volume of water that you load in, right? Because the xylem is like the superhighway, right? And the phloem is kind of like the back roads, if you will. It's less about the quantity of water that you're loading into it, and more about the quality of the substances that you're loading into it. It's all a high value metabolites that the plants are producing that actually work their way down to the roots. So a little bit of the proper phloem loading via doing a foliar spray when the soil is drying out. And let's just say you do a foliar spray right before the lights turn off, and you're going to water the plants that next morning. That's fantastic, because what ends up happening is you load the leaves up with enough moisture, and there's enough charged ionized substances if you're feeding like liquid carbon-based fertilizer or something like that. And then because the pressure gradient got reversed, because during the day when the stomata are open, there's that transpiration thing going on where the moisture is lifted up. But at nighttime, the pressure gradient can actually kind of get reversed in the correct environments. If the soil is pretty dry and the plants are pretty wet, they can actually release a little bit of moisture. And root exudates are actually released kind of in a wide range of soil moisture anyways. But it helps if the soil is kind of in that sweet spot where the plants can naturally release root exudates, because those root exudates tend to be very rich in organic acids that will participate directly in chemical weathering. Those will break down nutrients. There's also flavonoids and glycosides, various conjugated forms of like biostimulants for mushrooms, fungi and beneficial microbes. Part of what the plant is doing is like it's sensing its own internal metabolic needs, and it's kind of like producing these metabolites in response to like, all right, this is what I need, and this is the kind of microbe or fungi that I have to try to recruit